Hey guys, welcome to another. Hey guys, sorry. Welcome to another episode of Chulas Pero Mulas. I am so excited to have our guest speaker. She's our first guest speaker, um, somebody that I love and has always been very, very important in our lives, in my life, and all my siblings, including my mom and my dad, just because. We'll talk a little bit about it in a second, but let me introduce you. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Mayte, and I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I don't want to start crying, but I'm so happy that we reconnected again. We've been connecting through Facebook, but it's so nice to see you. I'm so excited to come.
Yeah, we were even talking about it yesterday, and Irene was texting me, "Don't forget Maite's coming." I'm like, "No, like I've been thinking about you, just thinking of when I think about you, I think about my teenage years, like just so many memories, so many good memories. But I'm super happy that you're here, Maite.
Yes, no, fun. I've been sharing a lot of those memories with my daughter recently. All the beach weekends.
Oh my gosh, remember cuando nos íbamos um, to Corona Del Mar?
Yes,
And like really early in the morning, remember?
Yes, to say the park.
But to say the park area.
We would take over the whole thing.
I know. That was so much fun, though. That was so much fun. I mean, I think those are probably some of my best memories because we just we just went. We were just being kids and the water. Like we spent so much time in the, in the water. And then your mom was always like, siempre llevamos mucha comida también. There was always a lot of food.
A lot of sandia, I remember.
Yes.
But it was hot.
I know.
That's how we stayed hydrated. All the games.
I know.
Las cebollitas. You guys remember las cebollitas?
Sí, no. Éramos, y siento como que éramos travieso kids, but we would just have a good time, huh? Yes. We weren't out getting in trouble or anything. We were just literally like, we were just being like teenage kids, worrying about the same stupid teenage things that everybody is worried about. And I think that's why those times are so special, because I think that's the connection. Mm-hmm. Like it was such an important time in our lives, all of our lives. We were teenagers, hormonal, and we just got to be, kids and be in the water, which is, I mean, I think most of us, because we live in Cali, la pasábamos, I mean, most of our time.
Yes, it was fun. One of my favorite memories, remember the cake? Remember that birthday that we had? It was with Esther con Pepe, and we started throwing cake in the street.
Yes.
It was midnight. Our parents had no idea where we were. ¿Se acuerdan? And the cops went by, and all they said was, just make sure you don't damage the cars. Y nos dejaron seguirnos aventando pastel.
I don't remember you being there that day. I don't know why I did, but I don't remember.
Yo estaba ahí chiquita ahí todavía.
Yeah.
Because I remember my sister Elisa was like, oh my God, mi mamá no sabe que estás acá. It's okay.
Well, you're just a year younger than me.
Yes.
Yeah, we're just a year younger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that. So much fun. I share that memory with my daughter.
Oh,
she looks at me
that's
like,
actually,
really, Mom? I go, yeah, that's the kind of fun we had. We had no internet, no. That's the fun we had. We never hurt anybody. We're just throwing each other cake, having fun.
I know, nos agarra, and it was a big cake. I think it was my birthday cake. I think it was a birthday cake. Yeah, y sí me acuerdo que nos agarramos a pastelazos, hicimos un desmadre. Like, it was the street was. Did they call the cops? Did you say they called the cops?
The cops drove by.
I don't remember that.
Yes, and they did. They stopped, and we just said, "Okay, just
what a mess!"
I think he said,
"What a mess." I think yes.
Y nos dejó seguir. We kept on going. But that was fun. And
oh my gosh.
The days that we're like, what do we do? What do we do? And that day that we decided to go to the Rose Parade, you guys remember?
Yes.
And Guillermo just drove. We're like, okay, let's go.
I know. Those were crazy times.
Yes.
But they were fun.
They were great. We're still alive, safe.
I know.
They were a lot of fun.
We had a lot of really fun memories with you.
Yeah, I think it was, I think about those times, and I think they were like safe, times, like good times but safe, because there was no drinking involved.
None.
Nowadays it's like I worry about my girls with the drinking and like with the drugs, and I know like back then it was like I mean there was no drink. I don't ever remember Memo ever offering me to drink.
No, well, he never liked to drink or smoke.
Yeah, and he didn't like to do any of
Mm.
that stuff either. So I think that was like a plus, that was never, I mean, that was introduced to me like after, we broke up because then I did drink a lot when, but during those times, like, it was just fun, good fun,
It was.
good clean fun.
It was. I remember even back then there was no law about having insurance in the car, so he was very careful. I don't even think his car had insurance because we couldn't afford it, but there was no law then, so we just had to make sure that we had our seatbelts.
That.
And he was a good driver.
Because
never got pulled over.
There was no law for the seatbelt either.
Oh,
Yes.
I don't remember that.
But
really.
we were all good though. I told apretados in the back seat. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
I was eating my Hawaiian rolls.
Yeah, I kind of remember. Eso sí como que sí me acuerdo de que there was a lot of us in that. Was it a Gran Torino?
Camry. No, it was a Camry. And it was an old squared Camry.
Pero antes de eso tenía un Gran Torino, un big,
the
great
gray
car.
one,
Yes,
la lancha.
ese. Yes, y que se le jodió el exhaust y estamos ahí todos with teary eyed. I'm like, llegamos everywhere con todos los ojos rojos because the exhaust was busted. Do you guys remember that?
It was the gray one.
Bájenle,
Yes.
bájenle al window. We could have fucking died. We could have been poisoned, okay? Oh my God, we could have died so many times, but we didn't. That was the 80s. Oh my God.
Yes.
All right.
A lot of great memories.
A lot of great memories. So today, I kind of wanted to talk about some of the influential women that basically have, created the kind of human beings that we became. And, for most of us, it's our moms, but not necessarily. A lot of people have, besides their mom, they've had also mother figures that have contributed a lot to their, to their themselves, with their growth. So today I kind of wanted to go over that. And what do you think, Mayte? Like, who is the most influential person for you?
Oh, my mom for sure.
Yeah.
Good and bad. Both.
Okay.
Both. Yeah. Good and bad. Things that I obviously, my parents, obviously their marriage didn't work out. So they separated. My mom was a determined woman. She had been in California before. She went back to Mexico. They knew that their marriage was not going to work.
Okay.
So basically she's like, okay, that's fine. Let's go our separate ways. It was amicable. They never divorced, but they both agreed that they were going to start their life separately.
Okay.
But my mom was ready to start a new life in California, not knowing the language.
I know.
Not knowing anything. Bien aventada, as we say, chingona. Honestly, my mom was a fearless woman, determined. She was going to make it. My father basically made a bet.
Wow.
He believed that she was going to go back, and she was determined never to go back. She was going to reach the American dream, and she did. She did. And for that, I mean, the highest respect for.
Yeah, I know.
My mom.
I know.
She's passed away. But Jesus, that determination, but also coming to this country and adapting.
Yes.
Just how adaptable she was. And that she was ready to embrace a culture or traditions that she had no idea. I remember when we landed, I mean, we landed in LAX. My mom knew she was not going to go back.
Okay.
For me, we started living in Huntington Beach.
Mm-hmm.
There were no Latinos. So to me, that was my first impact of
like culture clash. Oh,
wow. Because they were, Huntington Beach, there were all Caucasians and Asians.
Yeah.
Latinos was far in between, and I went to a school where there were a lot of Caucasians. I remember they would pull out the kids that didn't know Spanish or English, excuse me, and they would pull us into this big room.
Okay.
And that's where I saw whole bunch of different cultures because I went to Oka Elementary School in Huntington Beach.
Okay.
I saw people from India, Japan, China, Colombia, a mixture. And to me, that was America. That was California.
Wow.
Like I didn't see, there were hardly any Latinos. It was a mix.
Okay.
My brother Elisa and Guillermo, they had to go to Fountain Valley High. Again, mixed with Caucasians and Asians. So that's what we were thrown into. As the years passed by, obviously we moved to Santa Ana where we met you guys. And then that's when we got more of there were more Mexicans, more Latinos, a little bit more taste of our culture. But to me, that's what it was first.
Yeah.
And my mom, something that like we talked earlier, some of the things that as I was growing up, me sentía como la India María. Ni de aquí ni de allá.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there were a lot of traditions that my mom did not continue. That's where her adaptability came into play, embracing a new culture.
Okay. Yes.
It's like in Mexico, you know how they do posadas.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, she didn't continue that tradition here. She stopped. It's like, no, aquí there's Christmas trees and presents, and that's what we're gonna do. Posadas.
So she was like going full force with assimilation.
Absolutely. She was going for it. So
oh wow.
That's just like, okay, right here they do Thanksgiving. My mom never learned how to cook a turkey. So to me, there was a lot of confusion because I saw other traditions, but that my mom didn't bring that with her.
Okay.
Your podcast last time you guys spoke about the music. Well, my mom didn't listen to corrido or rancheras really. She was more like La Sonora Santanera. That was in our era,
Yes.
Manzanero, Jose Jose, Juan Gabriel.
Like los trios, muchos,
trios,
yeah.
But back then there wasn't that much playing like that here. So I got a little bit of that. My brother Memo, he listened to Menudo, he influenced that. But then also both my sister Elisa and Memo, they also embraced the new culture and traditions. It's like they didn't bring certain mentalities with them. They embraced it.
Yeah, that's true.
Memo started listening to others. Memo got a scooter or then motorcycle. Like he started embracing what America had to offer. And at some point I was like, who am I? Like you didn't feel like what's Mexican? Like when it was a confusing time for me. And I started just everything like a sponge. I was taking it all in until one day it was more of a, maybe I just need to discover who I am, who Mayte is. And that was like around my teen years. I was like, this is a little bit too much. I don't like quinceañeras. My mom didn't raise me with liking quinceañeras. I was more into travel, but that's a lot of the Caucasian culture.
Yeah.
It's like, don't throw your money in parties, throw it for experience.
Yes.
And so I had that, I clashed big time. So there was a moment where I was like, I didn't know where, like, what do I do? And if I did anything different, as in our culture, I was sometimes, I está mamona, right? Yes. Because I was going outside the box because I'm like, well, I guess this is what, I should try this, right? Like, I like to play tennis. How many Mexicans do you know play tennis?
Yeah. Yes. Different. And like, Irene said earlier, you guys had like that different dynamic, like just different, just something different in you guys that you just like, you couldn't really identify with like, the family. Like you just kind of like, well, the culture. Yeah. You just like, no, like, I think I want to do something different, or I'm, yeah. So I did see that when we were really young.
Yes.
So
it was hard.
Yeah.
To kind of finally decide, you know what, I'm not going to focus on the culture. I'm going to focus more on what I like and building that tough skin because in our culture we do a lot of roasting of each other, right?
Yes.
We roast each other a lot. We do a lot of gaslighting too, right?
Yes.
And going through that process of figuring out, I'm not going to focus on the culture. It's like I'm Mexican because I'm Mexican, right? Mexican. I was born in Mexico. I'm Mexican. My mother's Mexican. My father's. I am. But the culture and traditions, I guess I'm just going to have to figure out who I am in the process and maybe create my own traditions. See what talks to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Breaking from certain cycles, I guess, but that was challenging because then when you broke from certain cycles, your family saw you more, ay, la oveja negra, which now I've embraced it.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not
just
bad.
different. You're just different.
Exactly.
You're
Means that
just
you're
different.
different. Not bad.
Yeah. But when you don't know it's not bad, you take it as it's bad. Like I'm
Absolutely.
different. Like what's wrong with me?
It
Like
hurts you.
right? I've always felt like that too. Like I don't belong in this family. Like what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And stuff like that. So I could definitely identify with you. Like I know what that is, but I think what they used to call girls like us, I know that they used to call us wanting to be white. And I've heard that. Okay, I heard that recently. Like, ¿qué me dijiste que te habían dicho, Laura?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, Laura was having a talk with one of her old friends y que le dijo, oh yeah, so how's Madison doing? And then she's like, Matt, oh yeah, Irene. And I was like, what the? And so obviously, and it just helped me understand like like his perception of me. And I think that's what a lot of people saw me as. Like she's trying to be white. And like
Oh my God.
oh my God. But I was like that because I was like really into pop culture. And
Yeah.
I mean, I love pop culture. Like I love Cyndi Lauper and I love Madonna and I love like all the people, all
Mhm.
the other everybody in pop culture that we grew up with. And I think all I was doing was like imitating, like imitating that because Cali is always famous for having like a vibe. There's a Cali vibe. And I think we've lived in California so long that I've adopted that like or I adapted the Cali vibe. And for a long time when I was growing up, I had like a vibe, and I did that more like and hasta la fecha, no se me quita, but I noticed that there's other people in our culture that call that wanting to be white.
That's so interesting. And I ended up marrying a white
I know. So you just proved the theory that you wanted to be white. You proved the Mexican theory, girl. ¿Verdad?
Could that be it? Or is that he knew what really good is?
I mean, that's
and
true.
then turned them to the
There
dark
you go.
side.
I don't know. We're gonna have to ask him. But no, but that's like super interesting because I think that that was always like a thing, and I mean with me, like me acuerdo que it almost like made me mad that I wasn't into the kind of stuff that everybody was into.
Mhm.
I was just like, I don't like that kind of music. I like my kind of, I was like for a while I was in the 90s I was into alternative rock, and then I did the club scene, and I was into like a lot of different things in my evolution in life. I went through a lot of different things, but I think I was just a mixture of, because al último, there was a time in my life where I embraced, like, I really wanted to listen to more Spanish music, and I wanted to listen more to rancheras, and and then we started getting more, like, all of us, most of our generation empezamos like to kind of like embrace that, our Mexican like side of it. Um, but but still, it was like you're still not Mexican enough, and that's kind of frustrating.
It is, because what's being
Mexican? Yeah.
Like, do you remember when Whitney Houston came out?
Yes.
And there was also, again, attacking her. She's not black enough.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yes.
Like, why can't you just be you, accepted for you? My taste is very eclectic. I mean, as Mexican as I get is with Luis Miguel. I listen to his rancheras.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
I've always been a
But you've always been a Luis Miguel fan.
I've always been.
Yes.
That's never going to change.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy it's very eclectic. My taste, hip hop music, Jesus, with Bobby Brown, New Edition, because Guillermo listened to them.
Mm-hmm.
So then all of that. See, and sometimes what bothers me about my siblings is that they're very quick to criticize or to attack,
Okay.
but they don't realize you guys had a lot of influence in who I am as well. Like my mother had a huge influence
Okay.
in the culture and the way, and that's where I think I was a little bit on the lost side, because I was like, okay, where do I go, right? Because she didn't bring her traditions with her.
Right, right.
And she also believed, like, if you're in California, the land of opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta live the lifestyle. So I remember even my mom, whenever we would go to a house
Okay.
and they had, the planters, su jardineria up and against the wall with the whole little bit.
Yes,
She would make fun of that. Like, she
Really?
would say, why is it that, we come to this country? Why can't we improve our lifestyle? Why do we bring the things that we're running away from? Why are we bringing them with us?
That's interesting.
That was my mom. She would say that. She would,
Okay.
she would say, este no se le quitó, este trae sus tradiciones. Because that was,
Oh,
and so
that's
when
so
you hear
interesting.
that, you're like, okay. So hearing that, you're thinking, maybe I am being encouraged to think outside the box, because my mom
Right.
was not a traditional woman.
Well, she wasn't even following, like, she it almost seems like she was like really denouncing like that part of her.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, no, like we're in a different country, you
Yes.
adapt and you
You
assimilate.
adapt and you assimilate, and this is it.
That is really
And
interesting.
this is a land where women, unlike Mexico, back then, I'm not too sure about now, but back then, women really didn't have that much rights, right?
Right, right.
Right here,
during
my
her
mom,
time.
yeah,
Exactly.
my mom had a voice. My mom wanted to be heard. My mom wanted to be seen as an equal.
Wow.
She came to the land where she could be seen as an equal.
Okay.
And she proved it without a doubt.
That's amazing.
She was quite a warrior, a fighter, and that's why I adore and love my mom forever. And she's that strength, that tower of strength is what I see.
Okay.
And that keeps me going. Like, if my mom did it, what can I?
Right.
And I even do my best, now that she's passed away, I do my best to live my life, because my mom was a very happy woman. She loved music. She was happy.
I remember.
She was tough, but she was happy.
Yes, she was.
But I want to make her sacrifices not go in vain, and really live the life and raise my daughter to have a voice and to be strong and to really enjoy and appreciate the land that we're in. Because my mom came here for a reason, for a better life and better opportunity, and she did get it. Jesus, my mom did not give up, man, and she was very determined to, yo no necesito hombres, I don't need a man, I can do it by my own. She was very much like that, and in many ways, I think my mom, and when I share my mom was good in good and bad, is that I see that independence, and that self-sufficient, that it's like, I can do it. But at the same time, I think that definitely hurt her relationship with my dad and with my stepdad.
Oh, I see.
Because she took so much power that I think they felt very much like worthless.
Yes.
And those,
well, I mean, really,
she was a serious alpha.
She was an alpha. You're right.
That's where in my marriage, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Even though I know I have it in me, because she's my mother. And I saw her growing up. But to me, it's like with my husband, I want us to be equal partners.
That's amazing, Mayte.
So I've moved
That's
into
amazing.
The things that she did wrong, thank you, to the things that, you know what, I don't think I want to do that. I'm going to change it up and see what I do. And that's why I was always very attracted to the güeritos. But then, how we were talking earlier, how sometimes we tend to maybe marry our own parents. My dad was a güerito. My dad was very light skinned. I mean, I remember one time I made fun of my mom because my stepdad, I love him to death, but he wasn't good looking. My dad was. And I'm like, "Ay, mom, how can you leave my dad for that?" But I think deep down, maybe I always was drawn to that because I thought my dad was just the most handsome man.
Yeah.
And my husband has the green eyes. My dad had more the hazel.
Yeah.
But my husband has the green eyes. He's a white man. but I think he gave me everything. He gave me that variety that I was looking for.
Okay.
Someone that I was embracing me, but was willing to show me a world that I wanted to see.
Okay. That's amazing.
You
That's
know?
great.
And I only saw that in the American culture. I didn't see that
Yeah.
with
I can see
Mexicans
that.
giving me that.
Yes.
I didn't want going to car shows. I didn't want to go. I didn't want that. Yeah, it's like I dated, and I was like, no. And then I met my first white guy that I dated when I used to work at Sears, and that's when I'm like, oh no. Yep, I knew. I'm like, nope. This is my type. This is my type. Like I just knew a difference. There was something. The conversation, the vibe, so different. I'm like, no, this these are my people.
Oh my God. I found my tribe. Oh my God. That's super interesting, Mayte. I think it's super interesting because I think that, okay, first of all, let me ask you a question. Like, how was your family? How did your family feel about it when you started dating your husband and then eventually married him?
Oh, at first, it's interesting though, because at first my mom was not too sure. Like, no, because again, she always thought that Americans or Caucasians were racist or prejudiced against Mexicans.
Yeah.
So she thought, no, I don't think this is
Me la
going to
van a
work.
tratar mal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not going to treat her right. Maybe he's just using her, and she would be very concerned
Mhm.
about that. It's like, what if he doesn't expect, or accept us or doesn't like us? Total opposite. My husband embraced definitely my family. Oh my gosh, in a way that I never imagined.
That's
Never.
amazing.
He was you, Laura. He would walk into my mom's house and, what did your mom cook? He would be drawn to her cooking. And that's what I think made my mom right away fall in love. And she
Yeah.
realized, oh, so not all Americans are like that.
Yeah.
Like this one isn't. This one actually likes me. I remember my mom many times would say, I feel Tim's love when he hugs me in a way that I don't feel it from my own children.
Oh.
I remember I was like, really, Mom? And then, of course, in our culture, we're like, well, at least you're feeling it from someone.
Yeah.
And she would start laughing. And she was like,
We're like, oh, so we're like, yeah, that sounds like her.
Right? But at first, they weren't.
Yeah.
Guillermo was definitely he was the one who did not support it at all. Because when we got engaged, there were a lot of things going on at home. My mom was going again through her breakup with Artemio. I was the only one left at home. It was not good.
Okay.
It was not good. It was taking me down. So many things were happening. And I remember my husband, Tim, he was extremely supportive. There were times that he was working 2 jobs at the time.
Okay.
He would even tell me, you can stay here in my apartment. Stay.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to work. You can stay if you need time to kind of get rid of all that toxic stuff that was happening.
Yeah.
And we got engaged, and I was really excited, And I told my mom. And remember how earlier we were talking about how in our culture we don't like it when someone is like thriving?
Yes. A la envidia?
Yeah. I remember I was so excited, and the ring didn't fit me because I have fat fingers. I was like, okay, we have to resize it. But I'm excited telling my mom, I got engaged. And she's like, ay, Mayte, Yelisa, that was the first thing she told me.
Shut up.
That was the first thing my mom said to me. And I was like, Yelisa, ¿qué? And I was at that moment, I'm like, you know what? You're not going to take my thunder. You're not going to take it. It took a lot to not take that.
That's so crazy.
It was that's why my sister really was not a part of my wedding. She was having a really hard time seeing me getting married.
Really? Mm-hmm. Because she was supposed to, I mean, culturally, I guess she was supposed to be married first, right? It means that she's getting older. Ya se le está pasando el tren.
Right, the typical
thing. That is very cultural. Yes. That's exactly very cultural. Oh my gosh.
It is. Because you know, Elisa made obviously her choices. Um, didn't turn out the way she wanted.
Yeah.
You know, she got pregnant out of wedlock. Right, the culture.
The culture.
Como embarazada.
Sí.
You know, damaged goods. Who's gonna want her?
And that's so crazy because I feel like it wasn't that long ago for people to still, para que todavía hubiera esa mentalidad. Like,
Yes.
I mean, and so you're pregnant, and so you have a baby. Like, why is that? ¿Por qué eso es tan asombrante? But I think we still felt it. And so that wasn't that, I mean, right? It doesn't feel like that long ago, but apparently it has because it's been what, 30 years ago?
Almost 30 years ago, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it has. I mean, we could see like the difference within the generations. That generations don't, like, ya no lo miran así,
Not at all.
right? That was
No.
kind of crazy.
It was, and that's where it was confusing to me because, like, Mom, you're so modern, and you came to this country. She was at times the contradiction,
Oh, okay.
you know. But then again, a culture thing, I think it is that we worry too much about what other people are going to say.
Oh my
or
gosh,
think.
yes.
And that's the one thing that my mom could not get rid of. She could never outgrow that. It was always
Really?
keeping up appearances.
That's really interesting. I
Yes.
never saw your mom like that. I always
Yes.
saw her like as being so confident. Like,
With
a mí
you
a mí
guys.
me vale madre que right?
You know what? With you guys, because I think she felt comfortable with you and your family. Her guard was down. But I think as life went on, it became different and it was a little bit of a contradiction sometimes. She'd get older.
Right.
She started thinking more about what she left behind. Things weren't turning out the way she wanted. Her relationship with Artemio was falling apart.
Well, remember for the longest time, we didn't even know that your mom and Artemio were a couple. I
Exactly.
thought for a long time that they were brother and sister. I mean, it was like not.
It was a shock.
It was-
Mayte.
I'm telling
It
you, the
was-
appearances.
Yes,
I was just like, no.
I you know,
That was like a shock to me.
sometimes I
Yeah.
would think like, wow, they act like a couple
Mhm.
because of the way, I mean, their feelings. They couldn't hide their feelings.
Yeah.
The way she looked at him, the way he, just different things that I noticed. Because I mean, I was at your, with you guys a lot,
Yes.
and so, but they never out said like, oh yeah, we're together. I
Mhm.
mean, even Memo always, like, for the longest time said that they were, brother and sister. I don't think it was until like
Pero ¿por qué
Because
les daba
we weren't-
vergüenza?
we
¿Por
weren't
qué?
supposed to because so Artemio
Oh my God,
was-
sorry, Margaret might want to know.
No, because
I'm sorry, Ma, you
Artemio
have to answer that.
No, absolutely. Because honestly, again, that's why it was so confusing to me growing up. Because it was the culture, right? Like she is living a life a certain way, but then the words that she would say, or sometimes even her actions, contradicted. What that was is because Artemio was a very religious man. They were 10-year different age. My mom was 10 years older than him. There was that little bit of insecurity, I think, from my mom.
yeah.
In Artemio, the fact that he was living in sin with a married woman, because my parents never divorced. So they could never
Yeah.
get married. And Artemio wanted to get married, which, by the way, he is now with a white woman.
That is so weird.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
Yes. But he was very, and I think he could never really come to terms or to be fully comfortable.
Oh, wow.
Again, our
Yeah.
culture.
Because
right?
I know
It's so-
Artemio loved your mom.
They loved each other. They really did. They really did.
Yeah. But okay, so it does, I mean, that's so interesting because I think those are kind of like the big impacts
Mhm.
of like the immigration experience.
Yeah.
Right? I like those are things that when we think about the immigration experience, we think about like all the busca trabajo, la escuela, all that stuff, but
Mhm.
we don't think about like the impact that it has like on a personal level. Like I mean, eso era un impacto directo de la cultura que no los dejaba like be happy.
Nope.
That was really interesting.
Yes. And we were to tell everyone that they were brother and sister.
Oh my gosh, so they made you guys participate in that.
Absolutely. And I remember,
I'm so sorry
I
about
remember
that.
one time, I was still I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't see them really behaving as husband or couple.
Okay.
I remember one time we were in the apartment right there in Santana,
Yeah.
and I heard noises.
Those kind of noises? Shut up.
And I wake up Elisa. Elisa, I'm hearing noises. And Elisa wakes up. I'm like, she knocks at the door. What? They're awake, right?
Yeah.
My mom's like, Elisa's like, Mama, Mayte is hearing noises coming from your bedroom.
Oh my God.
Ay, ¿cómo son pendejos? No hay nada. Go back to bed. Nothing's happening. And Artemio is like without his no t-shirt
Okay.
and pretending, go back, you're gonna wake him up. And I remember going back, I'm like, Eli, but I heard noises.
Oh my God.
Now that I'm an adult, I know the noises.
Oh my God, that's so crazy though.
But in those things, growing up, again, it made me very much, I don't want to lie.
Yeah.
I don't want to lie. I don't want to lie. I don't want to lie. Because it did hurt.
When you found out the truth?
Confusing.
Yeah. When you found out the truth that they were together, like.
Yes, because you know what? Not that it hurt because why would you lie?
Yeah.
Because I never saw anything bad. He is, I shouldn't say was, he was a great man, and he's always going to have a special place in my heart. He treated me like his daughter. Me chiqueaba, gave me the love that he was my father figure.
Yeah, of course.
He was my father figure. So to me, I just thought, why would you be ashamed? You know, and then again, you bring the culture.
Yes.
Still keeping up appearances, because we still know people that are from Mexico that are still here.
Gosh.
And we have to keep up appearances. Like, why lie? Like, and so it's like, that's why it was difficult, because it was like, okay, if that's what being Mexican is, I don't want it.
I don't want it.
Because I don't want to lie.
Yeah.
Lies hurt, right? And I don't think it allowed them to really be able to experience their love.
I know.
Fully.
It was like they were hiding it.
Yes, and
that's sad.
There's no reason to hide the love.
No.
There was no reason at all. And that's as growing up with my mom, it broke my heart to see how, you know, depressed she got.
Yeah.
Because she really could have enjoyed that love fully.
Yes.
And again, we go back with, she was my biggest influence in many aspects of my life.
Oh.
So I thought, I want to live the life that she didn't get a chance to. So I need to break certain cycles and certain mindsets.
Yeah.
And have more of a, oh, no me importa lo que la gente piensa. I'm not living life for anyone else but me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense, because you already got a chance to see what happens to a person when they live their life, you know, worried about lo que va a pensar la gente. Yeah. You live a pretty miserable life. You know, that's sad. And it's sad. And I think if we're able to like recognize that, like, I feel like we can start breaking some of these like generational like traumas that we just kind of keep carrying through generation without like really knowing that we're carrying them. And I feel like, I mean, I know for a fact, like with me, I know that I tried really, really hard. I tried really, really hard, because you go against the culture, and going against the culture is kind of like going against the grain, right?
Yeah.
But like, I think somewhere deep down inside, like, I think when we figure out who we are as women, like, okay, so I am like, what this is how impactful it was with me. When I figured out that I was Mexican American, I started identifying as Mexican American, because prior to that, I wasn't. It was so like I don't know, like it was obscure. I couldn't I couldn't, como sentía como que I can't claim to be American because I wasn't born in this country.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever went through that, but I was just like, well, I'm Mexican. Nunca por la mente me pasó decir I'm Mexican American, because I felt like only really proud women that have gone through all this struggle and marching, and I don't know how the fuck I had that idea in my head, but somewhere it was implanted in my brain where that's what I believed. And then the day that when I remembered, even I had a conversation with Laura, and I'm like, do you know I'm Mexican American? Do you know we're Chicana women? Do you? And then Laura was just like, well, like we were kind of, it was kind of like, well, we always thought we were just Mexican because we were born in Mexico. And that's what we were told. And like, we're not white, so we can't be American. And I'm just like, it doesn't have anything to do with being white. It has to do with living the culture. We have lived the American culture as the same amount of time that we've lived the Mexican culture. How can we not be Mexican American?
It's true.
Right? And
It's
it's
true.
this kind of like, son ideas que llegan from listening, from hearing, from observing, from whatever, that as you know, when we were growing up as kids, like se quedaron como stuck. Like, I can't say that that's, no, I couldn't claim that. I can't claim that. I believe that when with, without me having the ability to say I'm a Mexican American woman, it like really brought down my chances of success, because I feel like I didn't believe that I deserved like this American culture title or American title. And then when I later realized, I'm like, no, I'm not claiming anything. That's exactly what I am, because that's my experience. Is That's what I've lived. That's the what else am I supposed to be?
Yeah.
What else am I supposed to be? So that was like, that was very like, that was an eye-opening moment for me, because I kind of got, I had a clear vision of who I am as a woman, and that kind of started changing my perception of myself. And I started like, instead of, seeing me como abajo, like my mom and my dad always saw themselves, because I think that was a projection of them on us, without even, right, without even them knowing about it, they were projecting that onto us. And I think I grew up at least like not feeling worthy, like, no, pues somos inmigrantes. Well, yeah, but the difference from them being inmigrantes and us being inmigrantes is like night and day.
Yeah. Very different.
Of course, you know? And I didn't get that. And that was like, I think that was like a pretty, like I said, a very eye-opening time for me, because I feel after that, like when I found my identity, like I was able to set goals that I had never imagined that I could set. And that was fucking crazy. Cause I'm like, wait a minute, I can go to college? I can get a degree? No, not Irene. Irene can to think about it, it seems so silly and trivial, but it's like, cuando no nos creemos que somos, no podemos hacer nada. Like, it's like that moment, like, créetelo, and everything changes. And that's what happened to me. I believe that I was a Mexican American woman. I started acting, and I started being proud, and I started raising my voice a little bit more. And I started like, when somebody said, oh no, that's just the way it is, I said, no, I don't think that's just the way it is. Explain to me why it is that way. Or, questions about my mom and my dad's like, Medicare, like, no, that's not just because you tell me that's the way it is. That's not how it's written here. Explain it to me. And I never did that before, because I didn't think that I had a voice to do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm just Mexican, and Mexicans stay really quiet. It's fucking weird. It kind of like, it plays this kind of like psychological game with you until something happens. For me, honestly, it was education. For me, honestly, like, el otro día I'm gonna talk about this really quick, because this episode is about you, mostly about you, but this is the importance of what happened to me. I told Laura one day, remember I was telling you about school? I said, one day I was on my second semester of community college, and I said, wait a minute, they must have made a mistake with these classes that they're giving me. Somebody must have made a mistake. I think that they're giving me some really low classes because they just know that I'm not that smart, so they're making it too easy for me. They're making it easier for me. I thought that on my second semester. And then one day, I was just having a conversation with one of my daughters, and then they're like, oh yeah, when I took that class, and when I'm like, you took that class? She's like, yeah, those are general ed classes. Like, everybody has to take them. And I was like, oh, don't they have like a smarter level? And she's like, mom, no, mom. And then I remember, like, I think it was Isabel. I'm pretty sure it was Isabel. She's like, mom, no, they're the classes that everybody takes. And then I had this moment of clarity where I said, I'm smart. I'm smart. And I was like, I never believed I was smart, so I never reached for anything higher because I never believed that I could. And then I just kept going and going, and I was like, I'm smart. I love to learn. I love to read. I love to figure out I love to figure things out in my head. I love critical thinking. I love to write. I love learning. And I always thought that I wasn't smart enough, because I couldn't get through, because junior high and high school was such a challenge for me that I created something in my mind that said, you're not smart enough. So that took me through this, there was this like whirlwind of, I'm not, it was crazy.
Oh,
Isn't that awful?
it is.
Isn't that awful? And those are the things that I think when we don't have a clear identity, those are some of the things that happen. And I think if it happened to me, I believe that it's happened to a lot of other people. I believe it. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast, because I know there's a lot of other women that have gone through this very same struggle. I think because it has to do with the immigration experience. I think it has to do with women that were not born in this country, that don't think they deserve to be called American because they weren't born in the US. And it's fucked up.
It's true. No, I
But
agree
it's
with
true.
you. It's true.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyways,
Yeah.
I kind of went into a whirlwind with that one.
But it's very true. Because right now that you talk about, I remember when I wanted to go to college.
Yeah.
I couldn't because she basically told me, you have to continue to help me pay. You have to continue to help me pay. So my responsibility was to help her.
Okay.
She was not going to help me pay with a tuition or anything.
Okay.
And I realized I can't afford it. I can't afford it. As a Mexican, I guess I was supposed to continue to break my back.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
And work.
That's
work.
such a
And
first gen thing, though.
Thing.
Yeah.
You had to work and build up and build up and work and work and work.
Oh.
Because I didn't have the support in that respect.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. Yeah, I'm sorry that you had to go through that.
But that's what it was.
Wow, that's
See,
crazy.
like I always wanted the education.
Yeah.
But it's like your parents have a hold on you with our culture in some way.
I think that is very indicative of first gens. So I believe that the experiences that we've had, it's very first gen, even though on paper, because we were born here in this country, we don't call ourselves first gens, but all the things that you described that we have gone through, that is very first generation. Because as first generations, we had to break that cycle with our kids. Most of us had to break that cycle because we knew that what they were doing wasn't the right thing.
Yep.
Like, ¿cómo yo voy a seguir trabajando en una fábrica if first of all, I can speak English, and just by the fact that I can speak English, I can already get a better job. We know that's how it is. ¿Por qué voy a tener que trabajar en una fábrica?
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen. That's not improving. That's actually going like staying stagnant or going like, you're kind of going backwards.
Yeah,
¿Verdad? Pero sí siento que eso tiene que ver con, that's very like immigrant mentality, ¿verdad?
Oh, yeah.
Like everybody, todos viven en la misma casa, todos contribuyen, todos nos vamos a ser ricos.
Yeah.
Juntos. O pobres juntos.
Todos. I mean, Jesus, I remember, listen, I remember when I first got my work permit. Okay, Mayte, yeah, you can start working. And I did. I got my first job at 16, working part-time. And I remember I wanted to follow tennis. And my mom was like, I don't know where you're going to get the money from because I need you to continue to work so you can give me money. And I didn't have as outspoken as I was, I felt that obligation to do my mom because it's like I always had that hanging over my head. My mom left so much for us because it was always thrown at me. It was always thrown. Todo lo que he hecho, everything that I've done for you guys. It was always that guilt trip, right? Now with my daughter, it's different. With my daughter, I tell her, this is your home. You're not expected to pay any rent. If you want to go work, you work. But you work too, and you save your money, and I am not going to charge you rent.
I think that's funny that you mentioned that because I think not too long ago we were talking about that, how I always like, because Memo, I think he gave your mom most of his money and he kept some just to go out. And I remember thinking like, why? Like you work so hard. Like you work so hard, and why can't you have money? Like I mean, I wanted to go to like a restaurant, you know. I mean, I think our like we would go to McDonald's a lot because that's what he could afford, you know. And at that time, and I mean, I was so young, and that, you know, but I know sometimes I would think like, wow, like I want to just go, I want to go have a nice dinner, you know. And but I remember him saying like, no, it's because I have to help my mom, you know, I have to help her. And I think I was like, okay, I because I was already like understanding that, okay, yes, I get it, you have to help your mom. I'm, you know, I'm gonna help my parents too, you know. So it was like, yeah, it was like a culture thing, like,
because I went into a seminar,
Okay.
and the seminar kind of opened my eyes to start detaching from my mom,
Okay.
right? To start kind of standing on my own. Like all this time, I always wanted never to give her problems, never to give her reason, because she would complain about all of her kids.
Okay.
And I was like, no, I don't want my mom to complain about me, right? I always had that.
Yeah.
Never wanted to be the child that she was going to complain about or talk bad about. She always did, no matter what.
Yeah.
But that's me. But then I went into the seminar, and the seminar kind of opened up my eyes to where, no, I need to take control. I
Okay.
need to take control of my life. And I had saved money to buy my own car. I remember I bought my first Toyota Echo. I don't know if you remember, it was like a bubble.
Yeah, I remember that.
I love that car. And I had built enough credit because obviously working at Sears, they give you credit cards. I went into like debt, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Bought my mom a very expensive stereo. Jesus. Anyway, I go, and my mom was like, okay, let me go with you because you're going to need my credit. Nope. My credit went, my own car. That's when I was like, oh, I felt that independence. I started feeling like the way my mom felt when she packed her bags and came here.
Okay.
You know, I felt very empowered. I was like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
And then I remember they gave me how much I was going to pay. And then when I went back home and I started working through my finances, I was like, oh, I cannot give my mom as much as I'm giving her if I need to make the payments. Híjole, I think I had diarrhea for a whole week.
Are you serious?
Yes, because I went to my mom and I told her, I can't give you that. We got into an argument. No, you're going to give because it's your responsibility to give.
Wow.
And I don't know how, you're the one who decided to go buy a car and you are going to give me. And I'm like, either you take what I'm willing to give you or I don't give you anything. And I walked out. Híjole, for a whole week I had diarrhea. I was like,
oh my gosh.
But she never came back. She never said anything.
She probably like noticed. She probably respected you afterwards. Like,
because again,
you stood up to her.
I had the, you know, and I think in some way now that I look back, then Guillermo was having a really hard time adjusting to Fountain Valley High. All white.
Yeah.
He begged my mom to get him out of school and promised to work, which she did. She needed the help.
Yeah.
That was her baby. She always babied Memo. Didn't like to see him suffering.
Yeah.
And yeah, he started working, and that's how we were able to obviously save money, then to own an apartment. And then from an apartment, eventually my mom was able to buy her house. Shopping. When you go shopping, you start at garage sales. And we used to go to Huntington Beach because white people were rich and they always bought the best things.
Yeah. That's true. I remember that.
So you go from garage sales over to the thrift stores, you know, La Tienda del Osito, right? And
then we all went there.
Yeah. And then from there you go to Kmart. And you start graduating before you know it. You're Macy's, Robinson's May. Yeah. Right? You start graduating. And now we're back to Walmart.
That is so true. I'm proud of it. Oh my gosh. Well, it was so cool to have you, Mayte. I am so happy that you accepted my invitation. I'm so happy that we got a chance to talk. And oh my gosh, I feel very grateful. I feel so grateful like that you took this opportunity to come out and just spend some time with us. I'm just really grateful. I have a lot of gratitude. And I think these moments are super important because it gives us an opportunity to connect as human beings. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm just like we're all just people. Like at the end, like seriously,
Yeah.
we're all just people. We go through so many things, like, but like I think the human thing is like that we talk about it and we're not embarrassed of it. Like I am so about that. Like just be honest. Let's be real with each other.
Exactly.
I mean, we live lives. We all live different lives. Sometimes it's good times, sometimes it's bad times, and then children are born, then children leave, and then it's just kind of like life. But like the amazing thing is that we can connect, and the amazing thing is that we can see each other as people, as human beings, and maybe yes,
And that's something that I really like about our generation, but also the fact that us as Mexicans, we want to get rid of certain taboos
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
that we weren't supposed to speak about because we were ashamed. I think I
Yep.
like how we are, at least us three ladies here that I know, and I'm pretty sure many
Yeah.
of us, we are ready just to
Yes.
kind of get rid of that. Let's be
Yes.
real.
Hey guys, so we're gonna get ready to wrap up this episode. We went a little deep again, and it was a little long one more time. But I think I'm just so excited. I'm so excited that you were and we have literally, guys, we've been talking como cuántas horas, Mayte? Like,
Oh my God, what time is it?
it's 5 o'clock. You got here at one. Yeah, so we've probably been off recording. We probably had like a 3 hour conversation already, and I feel like we could talk forever. But I want to say that I am very, very grateful that you took time out of your life to come out and visit my home, and I hope that you felt very welcome.
Absolutely.
And you felt loved.
Yeah.
And that I would love to meet your family sometime. I believe that I would love to spend more time with you. I think you're an amazing human being, and I feel very privileged, and I'm very grateful. I have so much gratitude for this day. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. But wrapping this up, we did get a chance to talk about your mom and the influence that your mom had in your life. As far as your evolution as a Mexican American woman, what do you think? What do you consider like one of the most impactful things where you can say, okay, this was a moment in time where I realized like this is who I am and I'm gonna embrace it. Or did you have that moment in your life?
I know I did. I just don't know exactly when,
Okay.
but I know I did. I did because I felt extremely empowered. I had more of a F you. I don't care. I'm going to do me.
Okay.
And I know it was around the time I met my husband. So it had to have been around my 19.
Okay.
19 and 20 is when I think I had that moment where I said, you know what? This is it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to do me.
Okay.
And regardless of any comments coming from my family, acceptance, this is my journey.
Yeah.
I'm going to start discovering who I am. And here we go.
There you go. Oh my gosh. I mean, I often think about, my discovery when I discovered who, that my identity, um, not just as a human being, but obviously, that's at a different level. That's at a different level. But when I discovered that I am this like Mexican American woman that just kind of embraced, these two cultures, and because I embraced those two cultures, it made me who I am. I think that it just like really was like a really important time in my life for me. Um, the only I think if I probably if I could say that I have a regret is not finding it out soon enough, to be able to teach what I know to my children or to my girls when they were younger. I think that's probably one of my only regrets, and I say one of my only regrets because I try not to have them. I try just let go of things that just didn't happen or weren't meant to happen. But I think that part was still kind of like hold some value in my life because I think that part impacted two other human beings. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where I have a little bit of difficulty because when it comes to me, everything else is about me, but that part affected my girls, and I feel like me not being secure in my chicanismo, understanding that I live in, I've been exposed to two separate cultures, and I've had to deal with all the difficulties and all the trials and tribulations that we have to go through, and not understanding that part would made me just like so much stronger, and that I didn't get to show that to my girls. I think that's probably the hardest part. However, I believe that I raised amazing human beings, and I think at the end of the day, that's the important part. That's the important part, because I think the rest of it, they're just going to learn it on their own. They're going to learn it while they're going through life and they have experiences, and I believe that they're going to do well in life. I believe they're going to be fine. But that would be like my only like, if I do over, that probably would be like the biggest one for me. But yeah, I think we're in a time where understanding who we are as women empowers us as women. It gives us the ability to speak and say what we don't normally say, because of cultural norms. That holding on or trying to be so Mexican like takes away from us just being who we are, just being people, just being like, I'm Irene and you're Mayte, and we are who we are. We have we're very Mexican, but we're also very American.
Yep.
And you married a white guy, so you know you know that people are gonna talk shit on you. And even embracing that part of it is amazing. I think it's amazing.
Really. So I agree with that. I'm doing my best to raise my daughter as such.
Mm-hmm.
And mind you, my daughter is mixed. I mean, she's a mutt.
She is.
And she does not have my coloring.
Yeah.
Whatever the coloring is supposed to be of a Mexican, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I can tell that she's a beautiful soul.
She is.
And I love you.
Thank you. I
And I
love you
was so
more.
looking forward to being here, and I'm so glad.
I know. I think this episode was just supposed to happen, and I'm so glad that you were, so candid, and that you opened your heart and just expressed what you felt. It's probably one of the most difficult things to have to, open yourself up to like remember even some of the trauma that that you had to go through. So I just want to be able to do this so that if anybody like has that like burning desire, I guess, or that feeling like you just have to say it, like say it. Just say it. Just say it. I feel like just say it, because if you don't say it, it stays in your body, and it does these like crazy things in your body where it hurts your body, it damages your body, it sickens your body, and it sickens your mind. So if it's something that you just need to say, just say it. Say it. Nothing's gonna happen. You're just gonna put it on the universe, and it's gonna go, and then you're gonna feel so much better about it. So thank you for sharing my philosophy. I appreciate you. And that's all. This is your host, Irene, and thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Mayte, and we'll see you guys next time.